Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Live for Love TV.
Welcome back to Live for Love TV. Today's the 29th day of the 10th month of the 24th year inside the 21st century. Hope everyone's doing extremely well out there. Now, listen, sometimes you read some books, some old books, some old texts and some old scriptures and stuff like that. And they've got all these wonderful miracles in there. Miracles that used to happen hundreds, thousands of years ago don't seem to happen anymore. Am I wrong or am I right? Am I wrong or am I right? The kind of miracles you see in some of these books, they never happen nowadays. Now that we can pin down certain things, somehow they don't happen. And I'm a very skeptical person when it comes to these miracles, and people don't like to hear that because they put their whole trust and their whole life into these miracles. But I am a believer in miracles. I just don't believe in certain miracles. For instance, what you're looking at right now, regardless of what anyone wants to say, what you're looking at right now, the person you're looking at right now, is somehow dirt that got up and stood up and talked. Dirt just like you see down here, that can actually talk, walk, see, and converse. And that's why we, at the end of our days, as we start to decay, we end up back right down there. As they say, ashes to ashes, dirt to dirt, or whatever, something like that. Don't quote me, but something like that. Because no one can go past that. We can only live a certain amount of years. And everybody that you see, I don't care how old they are, you will look at them and they don't look if they're 70, 80, 90, 100, they look nothing like they did at 10, 15 and 20. They are decaying. They're getting older and they're decaying. That life is going out of them. The body starts to just like an old grape that turns into a prune. You see the life goes out of them. You see the what do you call it? Like they just sort of shrivel up. The power goes, and then eventually we go, and we get old, and we start to bend over at certain points, and we start looking a certain way, and you know that person's near to there, yeah. Regardless of however. It could happen to anybody at any time, but you know the person's getting closer and closer to that place. There's an old saying that the young may die, but the old are sure to die. So I'm saying that to say that if that's the case, and we know it's the case, then that's a miracle. How we came into being, science has done all this talking, labba, 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 labba over the years, and they still haven't been able to say how human beings came into being. They can't say it. They come up with this, they come at stages, and they'll say, well, we were this, we were that, we came out of the water, we came onto land, and we became sperm, and we float. They come with all these bits and pieces along the way, but they can't say how we started. What was the actual genesis of that start? They can't say that. And that's because it's a miracle. And even if you don't believe in the scriptural explanation, it's still a miracle that somehow we're here and we're living and we're alive. And you see someone one day and they're so much alive. And somebody says to you, boom, they're gone. And you see them the next day, they're gone. There's no life in them. And they decay. And if you leave them and don't, as they say, embalm them and stuff like that, they just decay and then eventually just puff away into the ground. So it's a miracle that we are that dirt that somehow has got up, and somehow we speak, and somehow we do all the things we do, and live the lives we live, and have all these, great lives and bad lives, and confused lives, and economic situations, and worry about this and worry about that, when it's inevitable that everybody will end up behind me like that in that piece of dirt. And the problem, the issue I'm saying today is that what is it in our lives today that we're worried about? Because whatever we're worried about, that's going to solve the problem one day. Whatever it is you're worried about today, I don't know what it is, that when you end up close to there or there, your problems will be over. Especially in this dimension, in this world. I don't know about anything else, but in this dimension, in this world, your problems will be over. So, can we find a way to get rid of our problems before we end up down there. Before we decay and turn into dirt and dust. Remember, there's no one around living for 1,000 years, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years. They're all gone. They were just a blip in history. Even if they lived 100 years, they were just a blip in the history. Because the planet is so old. Because the planet is so old, if you lived 1,000 years ago, it's like you were just a blip. People just talk about you as if you came and went within seconds. But we're taking our little lives, our days and our months and our years, and making it seem like we're alive for almost ever. And it's everything. We've got all these problems, and people, oh my God, I got this issue. I got that issue with my sister. I got that issue with my brother. I got issue with money. I got issue with my job. I got issue. These are all made up issues. None of them have any real significance other than what you pay them to be issues. For instance, we are successful. As far as I'm concerned, once you're breathing, you're a success story. You're alive and you're breathing, you're a success story. If you say, I have to have this by the time I'm this age, and you don't get it, and then you start feeling depressed and whatever, you've done that to yourself. And society can't tell you that didn't create you what you should have and what you should be and what you should be doing at any given time. If you let society do that, then obviously they are your creator. They must be your creator. Because why would you let them do that? They're not your creator. They're just your observer, and they have no right to tell you. And you shouldn't tell yourself that if you don't have something by the time you're 35 or 45 or 55, you're a failure. And then your life starts to feel a little bit down, and you get depressed, and you get upset, and you get all bent out of shape. You're doing that to yourself. That's the mind doing it to itself. Just remember this. If you don't remember anything else I say on this video, you are a miracle. You may not be a walking on water miracle, but you are a miracle that you exist. How you exist, there's no one can tell you. People can come up with theories. When you ask them for the facts, they'll just give you their theory. Whether it's in a book, whether it's this, whether it's that, whether it's religious, whether it's science, they're all theories. No one can prove it. They're going to tell you have to wait until you're no longer here. You're probably down there to find out the truth. That means it's a theory. They can't prove it. Not in this dimension. They can't prove anything they're saying. So just remember, you're a miracle. And if you remember every day you get up, I'm a miracle. I exist miraculously. This planet exists miraculously. The animals exist miraculously. Then your problems start to look that little bit less than they were before. Because when you think about it like that, you start thinking, well, how does a miracle have problems? What sort of problems does a miracle have? Who gave him them problems? Who gave her those problems? You're a miracle. Remember that every day. Use that. I use it. And I'd love you to use it. And tell your children that they're miracles. You love them. They are miracles. They're miracles of this existence. And yes, they'll have issues. Yes, they'll have stresses and worries. But those are superficial ones that we put on the life in order to make life interesting. That's just what it is. We make our lives interesting that way. So you got a problem with this, you got a problem with that. In reality, there is no problem. There is no problem. We're just making these things up because that's how we know ourselves. That's what the mind does. It plays tricks on us to make our life seem more important to us. Maybe at some points we wonder, well, what's the point of life? So we make up these stories. Our job's so important. This is so important. Remember, you can have a big family, but you have no control over that family and how long they live and how long they don't live. You have no control. So you love them while they're here, and hopefully they'll love you while you're here. And that's the best you can do. But for how long anyone's going to be around before, as I keep saying, they end up down in a piece of dirt like that. Yeah? Nobody knows. So let's just remember, we're all miracles. And this is Live for Love TV. See you soon.
Like, share, subscribe to Live for Love TV.